Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tells podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, okay, giving you matinee realness. You can find us everywhere that you find podcasts. Just search the Black Guy Who Tips. Leave us 5-star reviews. We love those. You can leave them on Apple Podcasts. That's where we read them. And we like to read them every Saturday when we do our feedback show. It's a nice little treat for us, nice little treat for the audience. And we can just sit back and go, oh, this is so nice. They like us. They love us. You really do. Also, don't forget, Black Friday sale ends on the 5th. So I think you got like 2 more days. I see people are still signing up. I've gone through and audited everyone up until today. I have to do today's stuff, but I'm going through making sure everyone who renews is getting access and that there's no, drop off or whatever. I actually found a couple people had somehow double paid. Like, I don't know if they thought they needed to sign up again or something. And I refunded those people and messaged them like, the goal is to get, fans. It's not just the money. Right. I know I joke about us being capitalist, but I would never try to rip off our audience.
Oh no. And for some people, they probably was like, well, let me do this just to be sure. Right.
Yeah. They were trying to, they have anxiety like me. Like I said, if you have questions about, do I need to sign up again or whatever, just email me. It's easier because you're just making more work for me anyway. I'm just going to find it and refund you.
Yes, if I see your money back.
You accidentally signed up twice. But yeah, so just we appreciate that. Holiday cards are almost out. I want to say we're at 80 something. And once we get to 100, that's probably it, because I don't think we're gonna have enough to do like 200. Right. So it'll probably just be once we get to 100, that's it. And I want to say that's most of the housekeeping stuff. Oh, and the Amazon wish list, of course. If you want to get us something for holidays, not obligated. It's not, whatever. Like, it's no big deal to us. But if you want to put some stuff on there, we'll gladly take it. Okay, we will rock that shit. There's all stuff that we picked out ourselves for us. So
just random stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, if y'all want to get us something off the wish list, please do. All right. With that being said, the official weapon of the show is
the folding chair,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
A bullet ball, extreme. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into this show. I guess we can start with some banter. If do you have any banter? Okay, well, let me play some music. Hold on a second.
Cook that up, bro.
Ooh, bass hit different in these new headphones. All right, Karen, banter me.
Banter you. Okay. We went to the Hornets game. We had a great time at the Hornets game Saturday with Roderick. It was fun to go out there and see the Hornets play. We lost, but it was a good game overall. And Roderick pointed out something that I didn't even think about, but LaMelo's out, and so what is his name? Is the point guard. It's
Terry Rozier.
Yeah, Terry Rozier is the point guard, and how people have a tendency to be more aggressive when he's the point guard. Like, they just like, fuck a foul. I don't care if they call it or not. I'm just gonna be aggressive. And so I appreciate them for playing hard, but with 2 or 3 people on the Timberwolves over 7 feet tall, ain't too much you can do with that. So I'm just glad the game was close. I had a great time going to the game and just enjoying everybody at the game. And during halftime, we were supposed to see the dude.
Oh, okay. So they have a what's going Karen starts her banner like Rod will take over and give y'all the information. Come on, man. Come on, Jack. Cut
Rod
the
to
malarkey.
give y'all the important details.
So we have like half season tickets to the Hornets, and they have a thing where like sometimes they take you to the side in the halftime, and they're like, come in here, we'll chat you up, try to convince you to buy more tickets next year, and give you some free alcohol, apply you with drinks and shit and snacks, just chips, like little, throwaway snacks. And but we were supposed to do that, but my man Danny from Since We Last Spoke podcast happened to be at this game. Danny's like the most the motherfucking international man of mystery. If you follow his
where in the world?
Yeah, like he just be popping up places. I'm like,
Everywhere.
damn, oh shit. I didn't even know we had some type of Tar Heels rally in Charlotte yesterday. But yeah, he happened to be at the game and he hit me up and was like, yo, can we like link up real quick? And I was like, absolutely, So we kind of brushed off the the Hornets dude after telling him we was gonna go. And we went and chatted with Danny and had a good time. And then when we got back to our seats, the guy Mace was like, hey man, I missed you out there. I was like, yeah, we had a homeboy pop through, and it's just kind of like we didn't know, so we wasn't trying to like big time you or nothing, but yeah, it was cool.
It's cool. I enjoyed him. And also AI at the fast food. Me and Roger went to Bojangles, and y'all know how you pull up to the drive-thru and they have like the automated kind of white woman voice, and then just so people won't be like blow the horn, but like, goddamn, ain't nobody here type of thing. So they just have the
rest. Yeah, and I hate the AI voice at most places now because it's it's normally, you could tell it's not a person that works there, because the places I frequent, I know how people talk, and
yes,
it's always like it almost sounds like the TikTok girl's voice,
Yes,
it's that antiseptic, and so they like the person is normally like, welcome to McDonald's, have you had your smile today or some shit, and you're like, what is it? And then like you and me, it'll be a second, so I'll start to answer, right? I'm like,
which a lot of people probably do.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so let me and then they cut me off with a real person.
Yes,
and I have to start over. So this AI doesn't really help. It's like in the middle of me giving my order to the AI, it comes a real person pops on and is like, welcome to McDonald's, what can I help you with? And I'm like, I was in the middle of ordering some chicken nuggets.
Right, so what's the fucking point if the AI is not going to take the order? Like, it's like you said, it's redundant.
But at the Bojangles up the street from us, the hood Bojangles, is one is the Bojangles that just literally had a video go viral of the beating of a black woman and this couple for smoking weed. The police beat the woman up specifically because she allegedly punched a police officer, and then but then everyone of course put out their camera phones, so it's already infamous for that. Right. But it's a pretty hood McDonald's, I mean Bojangles, and I'm used to it being hood, to be honest.
Yes, but
they have the complete AI.
Yes,
it takes your whole order. You don't talk to a person till you roll to the window.
Right, and I was shocked, like, because it was like that very generic, welcome to Bojangles, can I take your order? And we sat there, I was like, okay, a real person's gonna come on in a few seconds. And we sat there, and the AI was like, yes, you can continue with your order. I was like, I guess, and took the order, listened, and everything. And like, right, you say, we did not talk to like a real person until we rolled around. Like, if you're going to do AI, do it like that, because the way it was before was ridiculous, because like you say, you're not wasting people's time for them having to repeat themselves. But it just tripped me out because I didn't expect it to be smart enough to actually take my order.
Yeah, the thing for me is I prefer talking to a real hood person. I know it's not professional. I know a lot of black people don't like that. They want, but I don't care. It's endearing to me. It's charming. I love being black. I love black folks. To me, it's not like they're not doing their job.
Right.
But, and I get a chuckle to myself every time I get like, I went to Wendy's one day and the dude was like, pull up.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. Like, it's like it was super casual, and it wasn't all that like, that like Chick-fil-A would never let that happen. But I don't know, dude. I like that shit. But yeah, so I kind of missed that. And then you got to deal with the humans anyway. So once you pull up to the window, it's just going right back to the same black people that work there. So
Right.
I don't know. It felt a little weird and racist to me, even though it's not racist. But it felt racist to me. Like
Yes,
they
it
like,
did.
we'll just have a nice, chipper white girl disguise the blackness that is happening on the inside so that you getting a white experience through this fucking robot. But then when you pull up, of course, it's the same black people waiting on you. But who knows what the scientific, facts is behind that.
Right. Somebody done a study somewhere or something. It was like, oh, the white woman voice on TikTok. I guess it's very popular now, and that's the voice that they put on there. Like I said, I don't care too much for it. I like like you say, and it's hilarious a lot of times when you pull up, depending on what it is. They be like, what you want? Go ahead and order. I got you.
Right.
You be like, thank you. No problem. It's funny, but that's all I have right now.
Okay, I'll run through a couple quick ones. First of all, I just found out Christopher Reeve, who plays Superman, his name is Christopher Reeve.
Oh, it's no S?
I've been calling this man Christopher Reeves my entire fucking life.
Me too.
It was at the Hornets game when they put up on
game.
They played a game where they play like old people versus young people, and basically they pull out like pop culture references and be like, "Do you know who this person is?" And like for the young person, they said it was Superman. They said, "You know who the actor is that plays Superman?" And I went, "Oh, Christopher Reeves." And then on the jumbotron, I was like Christopher Reeve, and then the person said Christopher Reeve, and then I'm looking like, did they forget to put the S on his name?
They dropped the S off.
Like, have I been putting the possessive on it? Like Christopher Reeves, Superman, he owns it. So yeah, I found that out. But extra S's is what we blacks like to do. So
yes, we do.
I did it, didn't even know it. I was watching a football game, and I was watching Red Zone, and they cut to the football game where a dude who was working on the sidelines, like one of the people that like holds the flags or something like that, was there, and the play went off the field where somebody got tackled into him. His knee went the wrong way.
Oh,
the camera was right there on him in his face with his knee, him holding his knee, crying, going the wrong way, yelling. And when I tell y'all, the broadcast did not slow, did not stop. The game did not like he definitely needed like a cart or something. When I didn't cut the commercial, I mean, it was like, all right, 3rd and 3. And I'm like, if that would have been a player, we would have had to stop the game. A cart would have came out. Everyone would have prayed for him. The announcers would have, oh, you hate to see that. Let's show the replay one more time. You hate to see, oh, his knee's not supposed to go that way. Yeah, that's terrible. We got another angle. Let's get the other angle. Oh my God, that is hard. You're praying for him. Everyone's shaking up. Man, if you not one of them players, they were like, man, fuck this nigga. He don't do nothing but hold the flag. Next flag up, please. Cold game. And then the last
I hope his insurance good, because goddamn.
Right. He ain't got no NFL insurance or program. His life really is gonna be fucked up because of that knee. Right. He will not be doing no Aaron Rodgers rehab in 3 weeks and be back. I know it was an ACL, but I'm back. Like that's impossible for him. And then the last thing was I will never not be amused and impressed by the fact that Shaquille O'Neal can rap.
Yes, I can rap.
I was listening to Shaquille. I was listening to just my Tidal, which, no offense to Spotify rap, but I wish Tidal would do a rap, because I actually listen to a lot of music in my Tidal because of the sound quality in headphones is just better.
It's just top notch. Yes,
and so a lot of times my Spotify rap isn't really a complete picture of what I'm listening to,
right?
Because there's some albums I only listen to on Tidal. I listen to so much more on Tidal that like I want to say Victoria Monet might be like my 5th album on Spotify. Is probably like my 1st or 2nd on Tidal, right?
Yes, the same thing for me. Yep, Janelle Monáe.
Yeah,
she's like mine. If I was a Spotify, not Spotify, but a Tidal, she would literally be number 1, right? Like, cause I play that bitch in consistent rotation.
But I'm listening to like a play, like it's like my Tidal is like songs of today or some shit, whatever my like. I like to go into the like what's new for you, type of list. And it was a Rick Ross Meek Mill song and I'm just listening to it, and all of a sudden I hear fucking Shaq rapping in 2023. Like it wasn't the old verse they like put on there. Like Shaq still can rap, like he still be rapping, and I'm not. And Dame Lillard was on there. And I'm not one of these people that's gonna try to convince you like, you know, Shaq is the greatest, right? You know, I'm just impressed that he could even be on a track with, you know, real rappers essentially that like do that for a living.
Right.
And I love that he's a jack of all trades. I like Shaq has been one of the most fascinating dudes in sports for a long time. He's a giant, gregarious dude, but also extremely petty, but also extremely funny, and extremely talented in so many different dimensions. And you know, I've really enjoyed watching him like get older and soften and clearly do therapy and stuff, and talk about like not just his shortcomings, but his lessons he's learned in life and imparting on others. I just think it's so cool. So yeah, man, I will never not be impressed by the fact this big motherfucker be just hopping on random play. Like he just lives a charmed life where he's like, I guess I'm gonna be rapping this today.
Hey, let's go.
And yeah, so I was very impressed by that. All right, let's get into the show stuff. Play All right, let's talk about some news. Okay, we got all kinds of news that is happening. Jussie Smollet is taking his case to the Supreme Court.
What?
Mm-hmm.
If they don't throw that out,
he is taking it all. He said, "I will put the system on trial."
You are not a martyr.
He is the gay Tupac, as he has said before, and he is ready to.
It's real cases that they need to be looking at, not this.
You know who I feel bad for the most? The people that believed him, because I believed him at first too, but there's a group of people that believed him and just would not abandon ship, no matter how bad the shit started looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wonder what happened. Like, did they just stop talking about it, or are they still somewhere in some small corner of the internet praying that it's a grand conspiracy that only the Supreme Court can unravel?
Everybody has a hive, so yes.
The lies.
Yeah, because basically he's gonna have to go to jail if he loses. Like, he lost his case for this 2-1 ruling that upheld his conviction, which means he would head back to jail to finish his sentence. But he's like, I'll take it to the Supreme Court. He thinks the decision was unfair. I mean, he does have some money, so maybe, you know, he can afford to take it there. And I mean, I'll be shocked if he wins, but I mean, it just to think that there was a time when he probably could have came clean and wouldn't did no time.
No time. 0 time. No time.
But he's fighting on that lie, and good luck to him. I think they're asking him to spend like a half a year in jail or so. Yeah, 150 days in jail.
Yeah, then the amount of time he wasted fighting, he could have did his time and been out.
Yeah, he was sentenced to 150 days, but released after 6 pending the outcome of his appeal. Yeah, and I just know that he kept playing in her face and just talking shit.
Can't do that.
I just don't know how he was supposed to get out of this if he did unless he had some smoking gun of innocence, and I never saw one, but I don't know how he thought this would end, you know, and I don't know anybody that feels like he's a martyr for the cause. Like, I don't know anybody who realistically is like, yes, shout out to Jussie for taking on the system that framed him and tried to lock up an innocent black man.
No.
So
sometimes we do the shit, y'all.
Yeah. I just program a note. If you're seeing this on YouTube later and you didn't get a notification from Crowdcast, I don't know what's happening with them this weekend, but this is the second show we did this weekend where no notifications went out.
Yeah, if you were on the app, you gotta push through the app, but if you were waiting on the email, they didn't send the email out.
Yeah. I'm about to email. I'm about to hit them on Twitter and embarrass them real quick, guys. This is what I do.
Go ahead, because this is
At
like
Crowdcast, FYI, the notification and what else? Emails. Notification. Emails are broken. This is our second show this weekend where, let me spell that right, where listeners weren't notified that we went live.
Thank you.
There you go. And what happens, I know what happened last time we went through something like this. Their server got backed up or something. And they had to like refresh their server, and then it starts sending out all the emails at the same time. Because also I get emails when y'all register. I haven't gotten any this weekend, so it must be their system.
Okay, yeah. If somebody clicks on it and registers, yeah.
Yeah. GOP tensions run high after House vote to expel George Santos. So George Santos got expelled.
Yeah. And I think he knew it was coming. That nigga lied about everything. He lied about what time he was born. He lied about like anything that came out of his mouth was a motherfucking lie.
The lies.
Like, that nigga lied. You know, he basically scammed his way in office and was like, "This is my, personal piggy bank, bitch. I got Botox and what." And on top of this,
and OnlyFans.
Yes, on top of this, I blame the Republican Party, because this is the bullshit that happens when nothing matters. All joke aside, when you just like, we just want a Republican no matter what. There's no checks and balances. Nobody verifies shit. This is the shit that matters. And I guarantee you a lot of them voted against this because they didn't want it to happen. And the only reason why he got kicked out is because the last thing was so egregious that enough of them was like, God damn. But if it went for that, they'd have still stood beside him.
Yep. And I'll say this, he to me is a big symptom of Trump.
Yes.
And like you said, the GOP enabling Trump, because basically their whole thing is call me out then.
Right.
Call me on my bluff. Show me y'all really will do something. Because I don't think you will do shit. And
I'm gonna play in your face until you do.
And I think he's what I think he and others may realize after this. Who knows if they'll pick it up? But Trumpism really only applies to Trump, though.
Yes, and nobody
none of these
else.
other people can really hold up the way Trump will, because they're grifters and narcissists and a bunch of shit, but they aren't truly able to reach the levels of sociopathy that he is, because
Trump is Teflon. Trump is going to stick by it. He ain't going to back down. He going to tell you to kiss his ass. He going to tell you he was right. He going to say no matter what you said. And they ain't got that in them. No, they don't.
Like when Lauren Boebert is caught getting finger banged at the Beetlejuice, Trump would have either just denied it happened, even with evidence right in your fucking face,
right? Or
he would have been like, "Who and fuck y'all gonna do?" What he wouldn't have did is apologize and say, "I'm going through a divorce and times are hard."
Correct.
And I think none of them will ever be able to do that, because the reason they fell behind Trump is because they have a craven need for power and a craven need to be liked, and that's what they see voting as, is getting the most people to like you, and they see that as, I'll get the most people to like me by bending to their wills and doing what they want. And Trump is the opposite. He's like, I'll never do any of that shit, and they're gonna like me anyway, because fuck y'all. And they do, and that's what they like about him. So anyway, Santos, now that he has been twice criminally indicted, pleaded not guilty, there's been a split over this. 105 votes for expulsion among Republicans, 112 voted against. Only 2 Democrats voted against expulsion, and another 2 voted present. I'd love to see their reasoning. I've heard some of the rumors of reasoning being, this is unprecedented in that he's not criminally convicted, and there's a lot of Democrats who feel like, or not a lot, I mean, what did I just say, 2, maybe 4. But there's a small group of Democrats who are like, are we setting a precedent where you could just get rid of somebody because there's a scandal, even though they haven't done anything? And what are Republicans going to do with this power?
But that nigga lied about everything.
Yeah, but forget all that. We should never govern based off of what will Republicans do with this power, because the assumption nothing you can do will stop them.
Right.
Meaning they don't care about precedent.
Mm-mm.
They set precedent when they do fucked up shit, and they don't care.
Right.
So this, it's like fool me once. You know what I mean? So I don't think you should govern that way. And I think that's kind of a cowardly way to govern. Now, who knows? Those Democrats may be in some like purple districts, some kind of leaning red seats, and it's easy for me to be like, well, you should have did this, and then that be the thing that don't get them reelected, and now we done lost some votes, and then I'm like, fuck, I wish I had known that. So it's easy for me to say I'd love someone to interview them and find out their reasoning.
Correct, because and that and that matters, and I do understand that, but it's also one of the things where, like you say, they do these things that's never happened before, and you need to respond in a way accordingly. But they go, well, no, we can't do that. It's like, why? Like, and on top of that, it's one of the things where this rarely happens. So what's the precedent?
They now have a 3 vote majority for the Republicans, so it's been narrowed down a little further, and they already have a problem governing in the House, period. Michael Johnson is already on the hot seat because he passed a government bill to keep the economy open for another couple months.
And it's gonna be interesting to see what happens when that shit come up for renewal.
Yeah. Yeah, people were frustrated with how this is a Republican from New York, Andrew Garbarino, who said people were frustrated with how leadership handled this entire thing. If this was not the standard to remove someone, why even have an ethics committee? They just are trying to slow these crooks. Like, they're trying to slow the process of holding people accountable down. So it's like, yeah, he a crook, but why we gotta get him out of here so fast? Craven.
Yep. And the thing is, Republicans are the ones that did the investigation too, which made a lot of them be like, well, damn, we found this out doing our own investigation. Shit.
Right. Other Republican, Don Bacon, said this was a vote of the conscience. Truth and morals don't change based on the margin we have for the majority. So I guess he was voting his conscience. On the other side, another GOP lawmaker pointed out that Johnson repeatedly told members in the closed door meetings to vote their conscience. When Johnson said vote your conscience, that was the death sentence for Santos. Leadership was just being leadership. The Republicans said, we all have a role to play in this act. So they now they're worried. Like, if we just kicking people out for being shady grifters, well, will it stop? Funny. All right. Funny to me.
And now he's talking about, I gotta tell y'all, well, bitch, you think anybody gonna believe you?
Yeah, I do like that he's trying to be messy on the way out and be like, I'm gonna expose everybody. But the problem is, while Twitter will get off on it and enjoy the mess, because they kind of always enjoy these sideshow things, the truth of the matter is, like, you have no credibility, so your tell-all doesn't mean shit. It would mean something if you, like, he did one thing and got kicked out. You lied about every detail of your life.
Everything.
And there's no way you can expose people on the way out, because there's no way people gonna believe you. And there's no proof you're gonna be able to back up anything with, because everyone's gonna be like, okay. It sounds like he's just gonna talk shit on his way out, which sure.
Yeah, he stormed out of the vote and shit. I think 2 or 3 days before he was talking about, because I think he already knew he was going to lose anyway.
Right.
So 2 or 3 days before, he was basically hitting all the national news sites and radios and shit. But was basically, was saying, I know I'm going to get voted out, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, and when he did, I was like, oh, he gonna, yeah, they getting ready to put him out because that's panic mode. Almost like I'm gonna call your bluff. Like I'm make such a big scene that y'all gonna feel bad that you're not gonna want to vote me out.
Right. Fat Joe says 95% of his lyrics are lies while defending Young Thug. Okay. I mean, I the thing that's always been weird to me is, like, don't we know they be lying?
I thought so.
I've always been like, a lot of rappers been lying my whole life. I've never held them to a legal standard with that.
Me either.
I do think some of these rappers be telling the truth on themselves in these lyrics. And shout out to MF Doom, Rap Snitches, you know, like, and I mean, I would say I'm conflicted, but I'm actually not conflicted. I don't care that they allow the lyrics in the courtroom. I know that's a big thing to a lot of people, and they're like, well, they wouldn't do it because a country music artist or something. I don't even know that they wouldn't, but I think if a country music artist made a song about killing his wife and then his wife ended up dead, I'll allow it.
You singing about the evidence in the song.
Yeah, we the only ones that's doing it. I don't know what to tell you, you know. If Eminem's mom and wife ended up missing after he made that song about throwing them in the trunk of his car and kidnapping them, yeah, check that shit out. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I do understand the idea of the rap police being a fucked up prejudicial type of thing. I think that's when they had the hip hop police and they were following around rappers from their concerts and all that. That was just harassment to me.
Yes.
But if we're just saying like you rap that you murdered your best friend and your best friend wound up dead, we think the lyrics where you say you buried the body at this time over in this place and that's where we found the body, I think that's relevant. Mm-hmm. And the reason I think that matters is because I haven't seen a scenario yet, and maybe I will one day, or I can't imagine a scenario where there's no evidence to corroborate anything except here's some rap lyrics. Like I would imagine the rap lyrics are attached to, and here's the crime you're accused of. Here's some other evidence of you in this crime. And here is you rapping about it.
Yes, some shit that we never made public that you rapped about.
Because to me, if you say the rap lyrics aren't, even like there's nothing a rapper can say on wax that also corroborates a crime that is even germane to the crime. I don't know. Then can we say that about social media? Like if a social media, I film myself shooting somebody, can I be like, that's my social media? What they got to do with the crime? Yeah. Like how far does it go is my question. But anyway, I'm not so staunch on this, and that like right. I feel like if they're not allowed, you should still be able to like have the evidence to lock them up without it, or else why are we in court? So, I guess it would depend on the case, but if the whole thing is just predicated on he was rapping, then sure, I think that's stupid. But right, if it's we have other evidence and he was rapping, yeah. I think I've explained.
Be like he gave the number identification number on the gun, whatever that is, in his rap lyrics, and it matched the evidence we had. Of course, yes, let's go.
Right. So I guess Fat Joe said that 95% of his lyrics, he said, I've been rapping professionally for 30 years. I've lied in almost 95% of my songs. I'm being honest. I write like I feel that day. I'm just being creative. You couldn't build a jail high enough for the lyrics I've said in the songs, which are all untrue.
Yeah. And
so I guess he doesn't lean back.
Apparently not. For most rappers, that's true. Not all, but for most, yeah. I'm just assuming you're an artist and you're rapping.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this, but I guess now all the old rappers are gonna come out and be like, yeah. So I also be lying. In case I'm ever up for any trials, I just want everybody to know I'm a lying ass nigga. I made it up. I don't
made it up.
Speaking of lying, Jeezy, who of course is getting
Young Jeezy or Jeezy?
It's just Jeezy person? Now, but it's the same person. Yeah.
Okay, same person. Okay, I'm about to be confused.
I don't want to call him old Jeezy. That feels offensive.
No, I just know him as Young Jeezy, so that's why I said that. Thank you.
I'm just going along with the joke, everybody. So Young Jeezy, or Jeezy as he goes by now, he's being accused of cheating by his I guess wife he just got divorced, his estranged wife that they're getting a divorce. She is now accusing him of being unfaithful during the marriage, and saying that it violates their prenup, which is why I always say the people that just go get a prenup, I'm always like, y'all, I know we broke and it's just easy to say, but the prenups don't be what y'all think they are.
It's all types of stipulations to them shits.
Yeah, like people think that the prenup is just like you won't get shit, you leave what you came with. And a lot of times the prenup is like, under these conditions you get this much money. And sometimes the prenup can be null and void by cheating. There's often an infidelity clause that either jumps the money up way higher or completely nullifies the prenuptial agreement, and you just go, motherfucker can get half of what you got now.
Right.
And so most people don't know that. That's why they just speak real general, like, just get a prenup. Oh, he cheated, but they got a prenup. Depend on the prenup. So I guess they must have had one of the kind that, you know, she claiming is violated by the by cheating. So she says he's cheating. He says he's not cheating. Now this is what he said talking to Nia Long about infidelity.
My therapist says, take care of little Nia.
Wait, why is it going all the way to the beginning? That's not, you know, give me a second, everybody. I'll go find the relevant clip. This is not what I wanted to show y'all.
No.
But he talks to Nia Long about like they had, like, I don't know if she has a podcast or what, but they have like this thing where she sat down to like talk to him and have a conversation. I don't know if it'll be repeated or what, but it was her talking to Jeezy and infidelity came up. And this is the clip.
Right? Like, and you got to know when it's time to be done.
Right.
And that's usually not about another person, an affair, or, you know, some chick that's willing to like make you feel like a king. Cause that's why most men cheat. Most men cheat because
that's fascinating to me.
It's so gross. It's so stupid.
I personally, this is my quote, real niggas don't cheat.
You don't think so?
Hell no.
I kind of understand what you mean when you say that.
They do not.
I understand what you mean when you say
it's
that.
Something in us that makes us want to be right across the board.
But is that so that you are living up to the expectation that you've set for yourself thing, right? Like,
okay, so that's the clip that went viral. But so now it's not just that he's being accused of cheating by his ex-wife. He has staked his reputation on being a real nigga that don't cheat. So of course he had to come out and say he had his statement on his behalf. Any claims of infidelity on Mr. Jenkins' behalf are 100% false, and we have no further statements at this time. So
we will see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out when that shit go to court and shit like that. We'll find out when lawyers get involved.
Can I say though, their divorce has been so uncomfortable to me as a Black person on Twitter and social media. And here's why. The amount of jokes Black people, and I say Black, people have been making about Jenny Mai being like Asian, it's like not just hack, but like racist. Like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've just like I haven't participated in that. We didn't even talk about it on the show because I was just like, who gives a fuck about, you know, like who cares? I mean, they got divorced. I mean, it's pop culture news, but it's not like, oh my God, my hero, not Jeezy, you know. But yo, it's a lot of like Asian jokes about like their food, confusing her with other Asian women.
Oh no!
Oh, I thought this who Jeezy thought he was marrying. A lot of like, you know, jokes about her ethnicity and just like, because it's Asian, of course, any Asian culture, you know, it don't really matter where she come from. Here's a joke that involves the word Thai. Here's a joke that involves the word Japan. Oh, no. All kinds of shit. I don't know if anybody else saw this shit, and I'm sure, and it was widespread enough that I guess people didn't care. But this is one of the things where I'm like, I never will be under the impression that like Black people, we just better people than everybody. It's like, nah, we just do fucked up shit, and you know, for the large part, we just can't be called on it because we've dealt with a type of oppression that our gallows humor is gonna always be seen differently. But I don't know, sometimes it should be ugly, and it's mainstream enough that enough people participating in it. People that claim to be, that get offended the second any black shit happens.
That's what I'm about to say. You let somebody be married to somebody black and they do that and get people mixed up and shit and call them African and y'all would have a fucking fit.
Yeah, and it'd be like super hack jokes. And like I said, I saw them on more than just like it was Twitter, like Instagram and Facebook be like a week behind, but still just the same like really racist hack shit. Like, oh, he must have thought she was gonna fill him up for an hour, but he was ready to fuck somebody else in 10 minutes or whatever. You're like, what's happening here, guys? Why did you think that was good?
Yeah, this is not good, guys.
Anyway, I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Josh Giddey, more information is coming out about him. He is the white player who is accused of having sex with an underage girl. And more information is dropping because it's being investigated and being confirmed. I know people want the NBA and the league and the team to move on it right away, but because it's like, I've seen enough. I've seen Twitter, but obviously they're gonna confirm shit for real.
You got to have evidence. Don't nobody care about y'all niggas on Twitter.
So now his defense is rolling out, and it seems like what they're gonna roll with is this girl lied to him and he believed it. So the encounter, it was 2 years ago, and allegedly they only spent one night together. And he is claimed that he's 21 now, I think, which would mean this is the part that gets confusing to me. Let me look up his age right now, because they be putting shit in the article, and I feel like it's to make him look better. Okay, so he's 21 now. Okay, so that means 2 years ago he was 19.
Okay,
but that means whatever age the girl was at the time, she was 2 years younger than that. Okay. So he's 21 now. He's claimed to have believed the California teen he was pictured shirtless alongside and pics leaked on social media was 19 when they met at a club in 2021. According to sources who spoke to Australian site Code Sports. The Oklahoma City club featured in the video had a policy of only supposedly admitting people over the age of 18. So it wasn't like he was 21 and he was like, oh, she's drinking, she's 21. But the club supposedly you got to be 18. And he was 19, so he's like, anyone in here must be of age, a certain age.
Right.
After realizing the girl was under 18 the next day, Giddey said that broken off the relationship, according to sources who spoke to Code Sports. The age of consent in Oklahoma is 16, while the age of consent in California is 18. So it was Oklahoma City, supposedly, with this club. This is the only one that I keep hearing they're investigating. I've heard scuttlebutt. There's other girls, but I have seen nothing that confirms that yet. And of course, no other girl has come forward and accused him of anything.
Right.
So mathematically, if he was, so what age was the girl then? He was 19 at the time. I don't know. They're not putting her age now or then in these articles, which is, maybe they can't confirm it, but it seemed like, the girl, that should be enough to confirm the age. Is saying her age would not be identifying her in any of these news articles. So there does seem to be like some reticence to say that. In videos online, Giddey addresses the camera talking to an unknown person and says, "What's up, my man? We're at the club, front of the club, me and my girl about to head back to mine." The post has seen evidence that appears to confirm the girl in the picture is still a high school student who would have been under the age of 18 years in 2021. She has not publicly been identified, has not spoken publicly since the alleged relationship was exposed last week. Reps for Giddey declined to comment when contacted on Friday. However, he remains under investigation by the Newport Police Department in California and the NBA over allegations he had an inappropriate relationship with a minor. Added to the mystery, Newport Beach police reports show he was pulled over in the neighborhood twice in 2 days in 2022. So that would be last year, which is after the one night supposedly the relationship was over. So, and I mean, he could technically be in that neighborhood and not be seeing her, but also that is an interesting note. He was pulled over July 17th and July 21st and ticketed for failure to display 2 license plates on his vehicle, failure to possess a transponder on vehicle, or pay by plate payment. His reps did not respond. So, yeah, look, it don't look good for him. And just because she's not cooperating criminally, it doesn't necessarily mean the police would have to drop that. Although at the same time, a lot of times if the person's not cooperating, police won't pursue it. That's not a NBA thing, a white people thing. That's a kind of a just general, like, it's harder to make the case when the person isn't claiming or cooperating or corroborating anything.
Correct. And it varies per state, but yes.
Yeah, so but you know, like I said, I'll go back to what I said on our feedback show. The NBA is notoriously lax on this shit. You're not gonna find a lot of examples of them being preemptive on any of the accusation stuff. You like now the NFL, which I think is where a lot of people getting their wires crossed. The NFL has a commissioner's exempt list. Their commissioner has more power than the NBA commissioner.
Right.
And they get you up out of the paint right away. Pretty much you get accused of some shit and they like, he can't play Saturday or Sunday. And whether you think that's fair or unfair, that seems to be the way they roll. They err on the side of, if it's going to make us look bad, let's just get him out of here. Unless it's like, you know, maybe if somebody got accused of something in the playoffs, they might not do it. But in general, they get your ass up out of there. Just off the look, you know, and then, you know, if you later they find out, oh, actually that person's innocent. Sorry. I know you missed a couple years of your career. Whoops, you know, but in general, they get you up out of here. The NBA doesn't do that, so I don't think that we're gonna see that with Josh Giddey, but I don't think we would see that with anybody. We didn't see it with Dwight Howard. We didn't see it with Karl Malone.
We didn't see it with Kobe Bryant.
We didn't see it with Kobe Bryant. You know, Ime Udoka, once again, suspended by his team, not the league. So I don't know. I think it's interesting watching this Josh Giddey shit unfold, but and I'm very interested to see what happens, because I think if there's enough people upset about it, maybe something will be done. But I haven't really seen that much outrage about it, other than, you know, the people that are the most outraged about it are trying to turn it into just a race thing, and it's not really about what I think he did is so disgusting that it's beyond what these other people have done, which I think would be a more valid argument, to be like, I think what he did is worse than what these other guys have been accused of, and he should be punished whether or not like there's any criminal element to it at all, whether he's prosecuted or taken to trial. I don't care. He should just be punished by the league taking away games, because I find what he did to be unconscionable. But most people are making this argument of if it was a black man, when they don't have a corollary to point out when this happened for a black man.
Right. They don't have the evidence, and the Players Association would never allow the NBA commissioner to do this in the first place. Like, they're like, the fuck you is no. Right. Like, that shit matters too. Like, you know, the Players Association is going to protect the players. And so it's one of these things where you sit back and think about it, think of all these situations, and go back to Dwight Howard. You know, a lot of people don't even know about that situation when he was at the Bobcats. You know, a photo popped up with underage girls, posted a photo online talking about he flew them out. You know, but, you know, guess what? He was never suspended, none of that stuff. So
not even investigated.
Right. So it's one of those things to where I do understand the frustration about athletes and how they're treated and things like that. Very, very valid. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, if you're going to make that correlation here, you need to have evidence other than I feel a certain way.
Yeah. And the league don't really want that smoke, to be honest. They don't even really want to go down this rabbit hole. Because no, you can't. I don't think you really can recover from some shit like this.
No, and my thing is this, and not to be cruel, but they're not police officers. They're not the police department, and people want the leagues to actually be the police. You want jail time and you want punishment. I get it, but you know what? If society cannot handle it regularly, why would you think a workplace can handle it?
Yeah, I think and for me, I agree with you. But in the bigger picture, to me, is like everyone cherry picks when they want the league to be the police, but then they always flop when it's back to them. When it's somebody that looks like them, not every single person, but a lot of these people go, whoa, slow down. You know, like I said, I still know people who are mad at Gayle King, who are mad at women that when Kobe died, they were like, yeah, he's a rapist. Still mad.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're like, we got to get Josh Giddey up out of here. And it's like, okay, I guess the angle has to be, I think his rape is worse than Kobe's rape. Because I know the angle isn't he completely innocent. You know, like if you done any research into that, read anything he said when talked to the police, like I know your argument is, I mean, maybe that's what you have to rationalize, but that ain't what the facts match up with. So yeah, it just seemed like people are cherry picking here, but we'll see. Let's see what else is happening. Florida GOP chair accused of a lot of sexual assault. Sexually assaulting threesome partner.
Oh no!
Here's the part that is so wild because I've said this a million times on the show. Police are investigating Christian Ziegler, husband of Moms for Liberty co-founder Bridget Ziegler, over accusation he sexually assaulted the couple's alleged partner. When I tell you motherfuckers, when they name these organizations, whatever the Republicans name their organizations, they are always doing the opposite.
Yes, they are.
They are always doing the opposite. It's unfucking canny. 100 moms, and it'd be 2 single dads just in Iowa being like, I don't like women at the Super Bowl being shaking their ass. Yeah, this is me. This is Randy Jones from 100 Moms for Charity. I'm calling the NFL out. Well, how many moms y'all got in there? None yet, but I mean, listen.
We working on it.
We got the LLC first, okay? We beat them to the trademark.
Right?
But yeah, he's under criminal investigation over allegations of sexual battery by a woman who claims to have been involved in a long-term sexual relationship with both of them. So they had like for all of their Moms for Liberty, conservative value stuff. It is important to point this out because I don't have a problem with open relationships. I have a problem with polyamory. I don't have a problem with any of that shit. I don't have 0 problems on my side.
It's what the fuck y'all stand for.
If you are involved in and participating in the oppression of the people, other people who participate in this stuff in the open,
right?
If that's how you make your check, you're a piece of shit. And I will always point out the hypocrisy of that. You know, the investigation, because that's the other thing they like to do is hide behind this shit. So once they get busted, and it's inevitable that, you know, because it's not like they're just being outed for having threesomes or having an open marriage. He's been accused of sexual assault.
Right.
But I guarantee you within like a week or two, a statement will come out that's basically like, listen, just because we practice a non-traditional form of marriage does not give people the right to persecute us, which is it's what y'all do. Y'all persecute people all the time for this.
All the time, but take away their rights.
But 2, that's not what you're being accused of. You know, it's Dwight Howard coming out and being like, well, just it shouldn't matter if I'm gay or not. Bro, we're not talking about you being gay.
No, we're not.
This conversation is about you being accused of rape. That's different. So don't try to confuse me with the sleight of hand to be like, I thought y'all were open-minded. Really? Like, I'm open-minded as fuck about you being whatever, bisexual. That does not matter. I'm not going to ever be open-minded about you sexually assaulting somebody. No, I'm not. That's not part of my dogma, dog. Like, and I try to be a fair person. I don't just come on here and be like, he did it. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying he even did it, but the conversation is that's what you're being accused of. Same thing with Kevin Spacey when he tried to come out the closet. But it's like, bro, you're coming out the closet being accused by multiple men of sexual assault. You're not correct. You're not coming out of the closet because it's just like, oh, you know, like, oh, celebrate. Like, nah, bro, you can't trick me.
Right. And the only reason why is because the shit came up. If it wasn't for this, would you even come out?
Right. So the woman is accused of a sexual assault while the pair were alone in her home in Sarasota, Florida. The police report mentions the phrases rape, sexual assault, allegation, sexually battered, but is otherwise heavily redacted. Sources with knowledge of the investigation told the Trident that police officers executed a search warrant on his phone, and the GOP chair is alleged to have recorded sexual encounters between himself, his wife, and this woman. Charges have not yet been filed against Ziegler, and the incident remains under investigation. He, of course, has denied any wrongdoing and says they will be completely exonerated. Just the fact that you're, like I said, you're such a fucking hypocrite. But yeah, it's you're like, and there's these far right grifters. They make so much fucking money off of this shit.
That's why they get into it.
Yeah, like
same thing with Santos. That's why he fucking get into it.
And it's weird because like they won't be held accountable. Like George Santos eventually, I guess, was held accountable, and then criminally probably will be held accountable. But like, there's another way to hold these people accountable. Be like, hey, you don't live your values, we're not fucking with you. But I think GOP is just power by any means necessary.
Any means. It was like, you still gonna vote the same. I don't give a fuck who you fucking vote.
So they campaign aggressively against education on issues of gender, race, and sexuality in school. Postures themselves, Moms for Liberty, as a deeply moralistic and presents his leadership as embodiments of traditional Christian family values. Motherfuck you. Motherfuck you, dog. The notion that one of its founders is involved in a menage a trois and that her husband may have assaulted their mutual partner stands antithetical to the public face the organization just present. Yep. And what will be the actual accountability? Like, if he goes to jail, I count that. That's accountability for sure. But what will be the actual accountability from within his party and within his support group? I think none.
Agreed.
I don't think there'll be any accountability.
And as long as the wife who's the president of the Mom for Liberties keep getting out there, keep fucking banning them books, they don't care.
Right. They don't. I mean, it's just like, you're doing enough to persecute people. We don't really care if you live your values or not.
Right.
We'll take whatever we can get over here. All right, let's move into some other stuff. Let's see. Maybe we do some. Let me check the articles I have saved coming up. Yeah, I guess we can do some fucking with black people. How about that, everybody? Get my fucking with black people music on. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. All right, you guys know what it is. It's time for fucking with black people. The game, we go all around the globe and we find different articles and we rate them from 0 to 100 intervals of 25 for how much we feel fucked with as black people listening, reading this shit. The first article is Felicity Huffman. Felicity Huffman, you might know from being an actress, but also from the college admission scandal.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The one that was like, take that shit to trial, bitch. It was like, oh, you want to take it to trial? They was like, oh, we're actually just trying to offer it to you like me, but you took your shit to trial. They were like, bitch, go jail.
Right. So Felicity Huffman is speaking out for the first time about her role in the high-profile college admission scandal, Operation Varsity Blues, which was revealed to the public in 2019 and resulted in her serving 11 days in prison. Y'all remember I made a t-shirt like "Free Felicity Huffman," and like the joke was, by the time the shirt gets to you, she was free. But I ended up taking it down because nobody bought it, but that was a good ass shirt. Huffman pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest service mail fraud as a result of working with the college admission consultant Rick Singer to falsify her daughter's SAT scores. So she says, I felt like I had to give my daughter a chance at a future in an interview with ABC 7. And so it was sort of like my daughter's future, which meant I had to break the law.
Ma'am, the goddamn lies. This was cheaper than you doing what other people do, which is like buying a wing of a building or whatever it is. You didn't want to go that route, so you tried to go a cheaper route, and they was like, no, you can't do this. And on top of that, did your daughter even ask for this? Her poor daughter was out there living her best life out on a yacht somewhere, and they was like, bitch, look what your mama did. And now she fucking embarrassed.
Yeah, I know I don't know if it's her, but I know some of the people involved, like, their kids were like influencers already making millions of dollars. Just being on Instagram promoting like dresses and shit. And then you're like, but you gotta get into college and stuff. And I think it's just the greed of prestige. Like, I need my daughter to look it says something about me that my daughter is in this college.
Right. Some of them kids may have not even worn it.
After a year, he started to say, your daughter's not going to get into any colleges that she wants to, and I believed him. So when he slowly started to present the criminal scheme, it seemed like, I know this seems crazy at the time, but that was my only option to give my daughter a future. And I know hindsight is 20/20, but it felt like I would be a bad mother if I didn't do it, so I did it. Once the FBI investigated the operation, they brought federal charges against 33 parents who participated in the plot.
Mm-hmm. And most of them folded. You chose not to. That's why you got 11 days.
They came into my home where my kids sleep. No, she said they came into my home. They woke my daughters up at gunpoint. Again, nothing new to the Black and brown community. Then they put my hands behind my back and handcuffed me. And I asked if I could get dressed. I thought it was a hoax. I literally turned to one of the FBI people in a flak jacket and gun, and I went, "Is this a joke?"
Bitches, you don't get the whole fuck out my face. Who the fuck you think you is? Nino Brown? The fuck is this?
The part that, because this isn't fucking with Black people, the part that is again, nothing new to the Black and brown community. And I want to give her a lot of credit for that. Not for pointing out
Now, why am I in it?
Yeah, like absolutely Karen. We definitely wonder why we are in it.
Right! Bitch, they arrested you, not me!
Right. But what I wanted to point out though was it's hold on, let me play your clip.
Now why am I in it?
That's all I want to know. I caught her straight for no reason, dog.
I just want to give her props for the finesse. Because what she essentially said, if you speak what she's saying, they treated us like they be treating Black and brown people.
That's exactly what she said.
And I'm decidedly far away from that. I am a rich white lady in Hollywood. And they came in my house like I was living in the Black and brown community, treating me like an N-word. That's what she said. She finessed it in there.
That's what she said.
So most people would not pick up on it. They probably think we're being too sensitive right now. But I speak that. And I know she's like, can you believe it? They must have thought I was Breonna Taylor with this bullshit. Now that's what happens over there. Across the tracks.
Not over here.
This ain't the South Side. This isn't Compton.
I'm in the gated community. The fuck is this?
Yeah. So she's now bringing attention to a new way of life, a women's nonprofit where she completed her court-ordered community service hours. After the mandatory time, Huffman continued volunteering at the organization and joined the board of directors. A new way of life helps women struggling after incarceration with housing, legal services, workforce, and education development and advocacy, per their website. So she's rolling out her PR, trying to get back in everyone's good graces, letting everybody know what happened.
Yep.
0 to 100, Karen.
Oh, this gets a motherfucking one. This actually gets a Jakaris, because bitch, you only spent 11 days in jail. Mm-hmm. You have people who change their kids' address to their aunt's address so they can get in a better school district, get more time than you did. Get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, and much like Josh Giddey.
You know, if you was a real black dude, they would arrest you along.
I don't know why that clip cut off.
You know, if you was a real black dude, they would arrest you along.
I guess I cut it off. My bad. I fucked that one up. It's supposed to say a long time ago. But so I give it 100. Yeah, I give it 100 because, and it's mostly just out for the extreme privilege of acting like my daughter would not have had a future.
And acting like you didn't break the goddamn law.
Yeah, and it's not her fault per se in that I cannot stop associating with this. but the black woman who lied about her address to get her kid in a better school in Texas
Mm-hmm.
and literally went to fucking prison.
Right.
Off of that shit. And then you have the fucking audacity as a rich, well-to-do, famous white lady to be like, I thought it was only this and no other choice. So what? Your daughter couldn't have went to community college or whatever state school she would have just had qualified for, whatever she did had the grades for, I'm sure she would have got in, for the record, wherever she did want to, like, maybe it wasn't on her short list of special schools, but she could have went to some school somewhere in this country, and you decided that it was not good enough for her, and then you want to turn it into trying to make some corollary between us and you. Get the fuck out of here. It's not the same.
I don't feel bad for you at all. You have to know your budget. You know, you wanted to do a champagne budget on a beer budget type of thing because you didn't have enough money to buy a wing. So you was like, well, I'll do this route, this will still get you in there.
It's just pathetic to me.
Mm-hmm. Right, because there's people that pay all the time to get their kids in school. This is nothing new.
We talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday, but Julianna Margulies said, what? Actor faces backlash over podcast discussion around the Israel-Hamas war. Loads of social media users are wondering what just came out of Julianna Margulies' mouth.
That's that podcast we were listening to, right?
Yes. You listen to some of it. I listened to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Good Wife and Morning Show actor is in hot water for comments she made about anti-Semitism and what she says is a lack of support by the Black and LGBTQ plus communities for Israel in the wake of the October 7th Hamas attack. Critics have a few choice words for her choice of words, such as racist, Islamophobic, and transphobic. The actress was on the November 20th episode of The Back Room with Andy Ostroy. Now, what I think is interesting is that this show was released a couple weeks ago, but it really didn't blow up until like Friday. So like November 20th, it was out there, but it wasn't until like December the 1st or something that people were like,
2 weeks.
What happened? Ostroy is a self-proclaimed proud Democrat. That's the host of the show, Andy. A producer and director known for his HBO documentary on late wife Adrian Shelley, writer director of the 2007 film Waitress. The podcast begins benignly enough with a discussion of her work and with the Holocaust education program and the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York, as well as her recent performance as journalist Laura Peterson in the Apple TV Plus series on The Morning Show. The character is a lesbian, although Margulies is straight. This is an aside. This is something I noticed a while ago. I'm not even really trying to start no shit or take a lot of comments on it, but I think I'm off of the like you gotta be the orientation of the character you're playing bandwagon thing, because I noticed that it never is applied to women. It's only applied to men.
Agreed.
And to me, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. It's like, so we have to out men or women, it's okay. We assume all women get are some lesbian or bisexual,
fluid, right?
Or some. It just feels like a weird double standard that no one wants to really address, because there's not this vitriol and stuff. They might do it if you play a trans character, but this woman, no one calls out this. At least that I've seen this. No one's like starting these hate campaigns and dislike of these women actresses, being like, but she's married to a man. Why she get to play a lesbian? So I think I'm off of that shit. It's not that I'm gonna denigrate anybody that does hold people to that standard, but I don't think it's being applied evenly, and I don't think it doesn't sound fair to me.
No, it does not, and to an extent, I completely understand people that are like, hey, your sexual orientation should not matter if you are the best qualified for the role.
Yeah, my point is just more like, they'll say like, well, it's because there are people who have lived experiences like this. We want the roles to go to those people, and it's not fair because those people aren't getting the roles. And I agree.
I agree too.
I don't know why that would stop with women. It just seemed like it should be that way for all the roles, or it shouldn't, or you got to let it go.
It needs to be like that across the board.
Selectively applying it feels weird, and especially when we know the consequences of people, and especially in Hollywood, men specifically, being out can literally ruin a motherfucker's career, typecast them, all that shit. So there's a lot of pressure, like where someone might play a role as gay, but they might not be out. And I won't say the actor's name, but I can think of a very prominent actor that from everything I heard and know, this person is like gay, right? But a huge percentage of this actor's fans do not know he's gay, and the roles he's taken, even when he takes a role where he is being gay in the role, they go, oh man, that brother, I know he didn't want to do that role. He didn't want to kiss that dude. So like they support him low key because they think he's straight.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter. But we're essentially saying until he outs himself, we're going to keep denigrating him for taking roles where he's gay. That doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound clean, or like it sounds like we moved the goalpost on that stuff. And so it didn't even mean to get into this part of it, but it's just something I've been thinking about for a few months now. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think we have really made the tools to adjudicate this. And especially for it to not be a consequence-free environment where someone can be like, well, actually, I took this role because I am bi. And then they don't suffer any consequences. We immediately will be like, oh, he lost to James Bond. Damn, that's weird. like we know how this society is. Anyway, so they are both Jewish. So they go on to talk about anti-Semitism in light of the Israel-Hamas war. Margulies describes herself during the podcast as not religious, but called out a lack of support for Israel. She described the incidents during last month's March for Israel in Washington, where supporters were left stranded at the airport after bus drivers chartered to drive them to a rally deliberately failed to show up. If that had happened to any other marginalized community, this country would be in an uproar. But because it happened to the Jews, for some reason, it's laughable. I just want to say, one, I had not heard the story. So this is one of the things I was talking about yesterday when I was like, there's literally stuff, just depending on who you follow, what your algorithm is, you do not see. Nope. I have never even heard this story. There are several stories she mentioned on this episode that as statements of fact. I'm not calling her a liar. I know other people are going to call her a liar because I think there's a lot of confirmation bias going on right now. Anytime one of the sides says some shit that you don't like or whatever, it immediately is like, that's because it's lying. It's not true. That's why I've seen so much, so I this was one of the reasons I don't want to get involved in the back and forth, is because literally I've seen people share something that goes, this is evidence that this did happen. Someone else shares something else. This is evidence that didn't happen. And neither one is proving anything to me, but they both have proven it to each other enough to themselves that they will not ever budge.
Agreed. And like you say, everybody's algorithm is different, and the algorithm knows you. And like you say, there are things that people are seeing on their algorithm that I'm not seeing, and things that I'm seeing that they're not seeing.
Because she's stopping to scroll on this stuff, which I'm not judging for that. I think there's shit I stop and scroll on, even if it's for a split second, even if you're trying to avoid it. You stop. The Twitter, all these algorithms nakedly know what your brain is stopping on. If it's just for a split second, they're like, okay, when this type of post comes down his timeline, he reads it.
So we're going to create more.
So we got to, he clicks on this one. He goes to see the quote tweets. We got to give him more, even if he's not engaging with it. He's not retweeting it. He's not arguing with it, but it knows. And so I would imagine, especially right now for Jewish people, Palestinian people, the stuff that they're seeing is actually different than the stuff I'm seeing. Agreed. It's the only thing that truly makes sense when I listen to these podcasts and I see people go on rants, and because they're triggered by something, and it's not just, I think it gets reduced to like free Palestine, but then they be saying shit where it's like, they put babies in ovens and y'all okay with this? And I'm like, I haven't seen no babies in oven. I'm not trying to tell you that didn't happen.
Right, I haven't seen it either.
I just didn't see it. But by how angry you are, I know you saw something. Now I don't know if it was propaganda. I don't know if it's someone lied to you. I don't know if someone lied to me and saying it didn't happen. I don't know the truth, to be honest. Because I'm getting all this third hand through social media, through a lot of people who are, willfully wanting me to feel a way or another way, period. But I do know that the response is a triggered response that, to me, points out that there's something that is beyond just like this shit is emotional. This ain't no fucking, we can have a public debate about it. It's like, no, if I saw somebody put a baby in the oven, or someone told me that that's some shit that happened, someone's like, I was a hostage and I saw 10 Hamas people rape somebody and then shoot them in the head, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be able to just chalk that up to like a very sober internet take of like, well, listen, maybe, that's just the cost of what happens when you do, like, that's some shit you can say here because it ain't happening here. But for all the, liberal wokey shit that people talk, that's a very callous sort of mindset,
Right. And also it's one of those things, and I completely understand when people are upset and things have triggered them and they have things that they have seen and heard on their social media. And when people, and nobody is above this, whenever you get angry like that, you just shoot across the bow at everybody. And when you do that, people who have nothing to do with it end up getting hit with strays, and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the response is like, well, bitch, you racist, bitch, you this, bitch, you that, bitch, you, because people are like, because basically a lot of people are like, well, why did you even bring us up in this situation? We ain't got nothing to do with this.
And like the interview dude was kind of leaning her into some of these things. And I know when you're talking amongst friends, maybe that can happen, but this is a podcast that's about to go out to everybody.
Right.
And there's in an environment where people aren't giving people the benefit of the doubt. And so I don't know. It's almost kind of like when someone's that rageful, they're not going to reach the people that they claim to want to reach. I think they want to hurt the people that, they want to hurt the people the way they feel hurt.
Yes.
And so she says, because he brought up like, young people spewing anti-Semitic hate are often concerned with pronouns and gender identity, because what they've been seeing is a lot of these, there's a lot of footage of college campuses, young people who are like free Palestine, pro-Palestine. And of course, they're young people. Some of them are probably going too far. You're probably seeing some signs that are like, I'm pro-Hamas and stuff. I'm sure they've seen that because I've heard people react to people seeing that.
Right.
I haven't seen it. That does not mean it's not happening.
Right.
I just don't roll in them circles, and I'm trying to avoid them circles, to be honest.
Same.
But if I were to see somebody with a sign that said like, yay, some support Hamas. I did see the Black Lives Matter Chicago flyer about supporting Hamas.
Yeah, you showed me that. That was
very offensive. Very offensive. I don't really give a fuck. You don't have to like me. You don't have to listen to the show, but that shit was very inappropriate and offensive. And so what I think is interesting about that is when they see that shit, of course their reaction is, well, you're supposed to be the liberal campus, the young, such and such. The things that Hamas actually stands for are antithetical to what you say you want. So if you're saying, and keep in mind, it could be one person with a sign about Hamas. Everyone else could just be out there like free Palestine. But if I'm being triggered and I feel attacked and I'm upset, I'm making everybody now, y'all all think y'all all stand for Hamas.
Yeah.
And I heard that in the podcast. I've heard it in other places too when people get upset about this.
Too.
It turns into everyone who is not in lockstep with what Israel is doing is in lockstep with Hamas. Every Palestinian who has been killed is it's Hamas that killed them, and it's the fact that these Palestinians actually do fuck with Hamas. They, whether y'all like it or not. So they basically then kick them out, shit like that, obviously must be more complicated on the ground than that. And
right.
The thing that I think they can't hear or understand from other folks is that when you're saying support Israel, people don't feel like what Israel is doing, killing so many people, that they don't feel like that's a thing they can support. Like if it was support Israel, like send aid to the families that, had their people kidnapped.
That's
send,
yes.
Like I think people would be more down with that. But when they wake up every morning, it's like another 1,000 people have been killed. And and with via social media, you're seeing like this professor, him and his whole family have been killed. People aren't going to be able to accept that and go, well, I still have to support Israel. Like a lot of people are like, no, that I don't support that part of it, regardless of what was done October 7th. There's a level of like get back that I'm not going to be able to be down with. And I think that seems to be the huge disconnect, because if you're Jewish and you're like, hey, there's a lot of anti-Semitism happening here. I actually, I'm not down with them blowing up all this shit, but at the same time, Hamas isn't good guys. People go, oh, you're a Zionist and you just want, you do want all these people to get killed. And they're like, I didn't say that and I don't agree with that.
All right.
But then on the other side of, if people are like Free Palestine, it's like, oh, so you are down with Hamas and you think it's okay they killed everybody on October 7th and that they put babies in ovens and shit. And people are like, I didn't say that. And I feel like that's, I don't know, like for my
circle. Yeah. They keep going back and forth about that. Yes.
And I think she got caught up in this shit. She said, these people want us to call them they, them, or whatever they want us to call them, which I have respectfully really made a point of doing, like, be whatever you want to be. But if they stepped foot in an Islamic country, it's those people that will be the first people beheaded and their heads played with like a soccer ball on the field. And that's who they're supporting, terrorists who don't want women to have rights, LGBTQ people get executed, bar none, you're dead. And that's not a lot as far as the oppression that some like Hamas and some terrorist organizations have done, Al-Qaeda have done to LGBTQ people. Like they have literally killed people, thrown them on top of buildings. Like but I think what happens is everyone's fighting. So you hear that and you're like, what's my counterpoint? As opposed to like, no, you're right. That saying someone with a sign saying I support Hamas, but also it's because I'm a super liberal person, it probably doesn't really align value-wise because Hamas isn't a super liberal organization. They're not, they actually don't believe or support the values of these children in college and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think there has to be some allowance for these are children in college and they're radical and they're experimenting and they're pushing shit that maybe they don't fully understand. And there's a way to educate them that's not just, yelling at them or whatever, even though I understand the urge to yell at people because it's insulting and it's triggering because two things are happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. Anti-Semitism is happening at the same time as Islamophobia.
Yes, it is.
Like it's happening at the same time. So, but what I'm seeing is people cherry picking the story. So it's like, oh, some Palestinian people got shot. See, this is the consequences. But then it's like some if a Jewish woman is assaulted or something, they're like, I didn't see that. I'm just like, I don't want to lose my side of this argument. So I'm gonna give up this ammunition. But yeah, she went on to describe how she tried to educate herself on Hamas in the aftermath of October 7th, citing the 2014 documentary The Green Prince and episodes of the podcast Making Sense with Sam Harris. It's really not about Israel. It's about Hamas and jihadism and radical Islamists. I'm educating myself. I don't want to spend my day learning about jihadists. They're toxic, horrible, inhuman people who think I shouldn't exist in the world. P.S. Not just because I'm Jewish, but also because I'm a woman. About 26 minutes into the podcast, she criticized supporters of Palestinians for abetting anti-Semitism. There's a film being shown by this black lesbian club, and she said it with the hard B and L. Like this black lesbian club on Columbia's campus, and they put signs up that said "No Jews Allowed." And then this article links to it to the New York Post, who says Columbia University lesbian group disinvites Zionists for movie night. But let me see if it said no Jews allowed. So it said, Lion Les, organization called Lion Les sent out a message to students promoting an on-campus black lesbian film event. Is explicitly said no Zionists will be welcome to attend. It's Free Palestine over here. Zionists aren't invited. See you soon, Lion Les. So it doesn't actually say no Jews. It says no Zionists, which from my understanding is a different type of thing than being just being Jewish. But once again, I really think it is you're with me or against me, and everyone's hearing the most extreme. So she heard this story, read it, trickled through the grapevine. Once again, I never saw this because I think my algorithm is like, right, ain't clicking on these.
Right.
But if I was stopping on shit like this, I'm sure it would have showed me. But it seems like we're not down with Zionists, not Jews, but it's a distinction that I feel like people not making when you're so mad. You're like, that means Jews to me now. And it's someone, this is the part I mean, it's so bad and laughable. And as someone who plays a lesbian journalist on the morning show, I'm more offended by it as a lesbian than I am as a Jew, to be honest with you.
What?
Yeah, man. She was just kind of, I think she was mad. She was on one.
Correct.
Buddy was like kind of just egging it on. Not saying he was like he was just tossing the alley-oops and letting her dunk it.
Right. Versus asking for pure clarification.
And it's like a friendly environment, so he's not like challenging her. Mm-hmm. But I really think sometimes you could benefit from being challenged in a situation like this, only to clarify because of what ended up happening with her getting aggregated, the internet going wild, us talking like in that moment, someone could have been like, okay, so you're not really a lesbian.
Right. So can you explain yourself? Or why do you feel like that?
Is that like, are you serious right now or whatever? And maybe she would have doubled down and be like, I am serious. If I played a lesbian, that's the same thing as being a lesbian. And it would have been worse.
Right. It would have been what it is. But it's also one of those things as follow-up questions matter. And I do understand, like you said, from what I heard, it was kind of a laid-back interview. But still, you're being recorded. You're an interviewer. Follow-up questions do matter when people make statements like that. Clarification matters so that, they can get their full thoughts out there. And if she would have said that, you go, okay, now you know where she stands.
Yeah. So she says, towards the end of the podcast appearance, she referenced Ken Burns' documentary, The U.S. and the Holocaust. And she brings up something we bring up all the time here, that Hitler was inspired by the Jim Crow South, which is also why in the Civil Rights Movement, the Jews were the ones who walked side by side with the blacks to fight for their rights because they know. And now the black community isn't embracing us and saying, we stand with you the way you stood with us. So this is a complicated thing, I think, for people that aren't black to hear. But black people have never been empowered with the support that Israel is being empowered with. Like, for all of the upsetness that is happening, when it comes down to the paperwork and the money and the paperwork is siding with Israel, right? Like the US might have a bunch of citizens that don't like what's happening. The government is going to definitely still support Israel. It's definitely going to send money and weapons. And as is most major governments are going to. They might not like what Israel's doing with it. They might be encouraged. They are like giving them weapons and concessions and being like, please don't use them. But it doesn't matter. Essentially, they have that support. I do not think, and Ta-Nehisi Coates said this kind of, but it's something I've said for a long time. I do not think black people from America are better or above this. I don't think we're turn the cheek people. I think we've never had a choice.
Right, because we've never been in a position of power to be able to do that, and it actually matters.
Yeah, no government's coming to our rescue. No one's gonna let us have our own country with weapons and shit. So we'll never truly be in that situation. So supporting the black community during civil rights is more of a like, hey, we understand you're being oppressed and we're trying to help stop the oppression. Supporting Israel right now in this moment, a lot of people want that to look like it doesn't matter how and when and what you do. We just got to say, hey, you're right. And there's nothing to be said about it. Doesn't matter who dies. Doesn't matter what whatever tactics you use. Doesn't matter any of this shit. None of this should matter. Support is just us saying right on. And I think it's because people are acknowledging that it's more complicated than that. They're getting lumped into this like, well, then clearly you hate Jews. And I think that shit is not helping anybody. Look at where it's gotten us so far. But I once again, it's easy for me to say in America, far away from all this danger and sober minds prevailing and shit. Like, it's easy for me to say. But yeah, it was, and of course Black Twitter really like went and got them quotes and they went in.
Yeah, because it sounds inflammatory.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I went and listened to it in full context because that's just how I do. I need to know what was said. And I still feel the way I feel about it that yesterday, where I'm like, she's seeing some shit and reacting to some shit that I ain't seen, but at the same time, it's not smart to react to this shit because it's just I'm sure if there was I'm sure there are podcasts or people that are, I mean, shit, we've seen it. We've seen people that have advocated what they feel is like, I'm advocating for Palestine, but then they go too far or they say some phrase or some shit that the historical context means something different over there than they do here. And motherfuckers is getting fried for that shit. It's like, oh, what you just said is actually what people said during the Holocaust or something. And then it's like, well, I didn't mean it like that. Well, you hopped on here and you tried to be like first and loudest and wrongest, you know? The other thing I'll add to it, and this is something I noticed during not just this conversation, but a lot of these conversations. And I think it's something that people are having trouble articulating, but this is what I hope and think they mean. She brings up that she put up a black square on her Instagram after George Floyd. Now, obviously, a lot of black people, we roll our eyes at that and laugh at that, right?
Right.
Okay.
It doesn't mean a motherfucking thing.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean shit to us. But okay. You know, it's you want to signal that something,
that's
right?
About people to be their safety pin. Bitch, what the fuck is safety pin you pin on your shirt?
Yeah, but let me, you know, I'm going somewhere with it, right? So you got that. And she also brings up that people aren't checking on her and her Jewish friends. Like, where the fucking are the phone calls? Where's the, like, you know, like something traumatic happened to my people October 7th. I look online and you're immediately throwing up free Palestine signs as opposed to like giving your friend a call, you know? And like I said, there's been some stuff out there that's, you know, people recirculating Osama bin Laden's letter about America on TikTok and shit. And people, you know, and I've listened to podcasts. This is to me the best way to consume all this information is a podcast. Twitter is terrible. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's fucking terrible.
Need something that's filtered.
Yeah, you need something that has fact check, filter, and context to even approach this shit, because people will literally make up their own realities and it just does not matter. They don't need any research or confirmation with their shit over there. They're just saying shit. Right. You know, they're mad that Beyonce's film was shown in Israel or something this weekend. I'm not even participating in that because they can't answer any questions. You know, like whenever it's like, well, every film comes out. No, fuck that shit. When it's, you know, yeah, there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered yet, and maybe they will be answered at some point, but people don't even really know fully the full story of what's happening there. And they've been like, she's a Zionist, she hates, you know, black. It's capitalism. I don't know. But my point being, like, Twitter's not a great place to find out that information.
No, it's not.
Because people will eschew when you ask a question like, so are we sure the distribution deal is directly from her and her people or whatever? They will eschew that and be like, well, she should know. Like, oh, okay. All right. You feel a way. Yes. You've been on Twitter all day. Everyone in your circle feels the same way. I'm not going to argue with you. That's how you feel. Right. But the phone calls and the black square, that said something to me. Mm-hmm. And it's this. Two things. One, when she put up that black square, as many white people did, as many non-black people did, out of solidarity, it's a surface level, superficial acknowledgement.
Right.
It doesn't really require you to do or mean anything.
Mm-mm.
It's just a, hey, leave me alone. I put my black square up. I support the end of it. Right? Mm-hmm. That's number one. So when she sees people put up, in my opinion, what's happening, I don't even know if she would agree with this, but this is just the way I'm seeing it and thinking of it. When she sees people put up free Palestine or whatever, or even something in support of Hamas, I think she feels a similar level of like, you don't even give a fuck. And this the side you chose? I think that's really how, like the way I put up my black square and really didn't give a fuck. Just wanted y'all to leave me the fuck alone. I understand that this is the wave on social media, because it's not like the stuff she said made me feel like, well, she definitely is in tune with the Black community. The stuff she said on that podcast made me feel like, oh, no, you see Black people as like a charity to help, and Black people better have your back whenever you decide to do whatever the fuck you gonna do, right? Or else they're ungrateful or some shit. And I think that's such a misunderstanding of our community and the autonomy of our community. I'm not even going to argue with you about it. It's just, you clearly just do not think of us as actual people. So the betrayal is, I tried to help you people with a black square, and this is what y'all do.
That might as well be what she said.
Right. And I don't know why it's focused only on the Black people. My guess is that fucking Black Lives Matter poster thing went way super viral in Jewish social media circles in a way that it didn't in the other side, because I think on the in Black circles and on the Free Palestine circle, people, they basically just ignored that shit happened. Like, it wasn't a lot of recriminations. It was just kind of like, oh, that was unsavory, and he just move on, right? Like it didn't happen. But I would imagine that if I was Jewish, I'd be like, I'm gonna look at this picture every day and be like, fuck y'all. So that's the first thing, is that circle stuff. I mean, not circle stuff, that, wow, this is what y'all agree with. It clearly doesn't mean shit. And then the other part of it is this idea of not being right and wrong, but being old. Like, I didn't say George Floyd, it was fucked up just because it was wrong. I said it because there's gonna come a time when you owe me back. And I'm like, what is that? Like, justice can't be like transactional. If that's how you feel,
for a lot of people it is.
Yeah, if that's how you feel, then don't put up the square.
Don't do it then.
If it's just like I'm gonna be checking back in to make sure I get mine back, that's not what that should be about. You know what I mean? Like, so I just, like, that felt very, weird. And I would imagine it does feel like a betrayal, because a lot of the social media stuff isn't really true investment. It's not necessarily real activism. And it must suck that your friends that practice that kind of like same slacktivism of putting that black square up, that they decided that they were going to put up the Palestine square and not the Jewish square. That must fucking, that would hurt. You know what I'm saying? This is not, regardless of whether or not they would agree with what Israel is doing, just the idea of somebody being like, no, your side is the side we're not on. And even if you're like, well, I don't agree with the bombing and shit, I'm just saying that something happened to us, and we should acknowledge that something happened to us, and that this is the thing. Like, there should be a reaction to what happened, and there's hostages, there's shit is still happening, and then people go, yeah, your side is the losing side on social media. So I don't want to be with the losing side on social media.
Social media.
And it's honestly, sadly, it's only that deep for a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
It, like, I wish it was deeper than that, but
everything's transactional. Social media.
Everything's politicized. Everything's transactional. And I think that that's a part of this that is being reacted to that was not being spoken about.
Right.
And I don't think anyone's going to be able to articulate that that's what's happening. But at least that's the vibe I picked up from listening to that podcast was, oh, she's upset that her friends and stuff are yielding to the pressure of social media to be like, I'm not going to try to be nuanced on this. I'm not going to try to even get involved in like, hey, but isn't like, didn't they?
Everybody was like, I don't want the smoke.
I'm going straight to whatever will get everyone off my ass.
Right.
This is my black square. I'm going to just post a picture of a protest. I'm going to put up something. I don't want what you're dealing with right now. I ain't dealing with that shit. You see how you getting fried? Fuck that.
Right.
Just leave me alone. And I think that's what you're seeing online. And honestly, it's probably the least, in a weird way, it's the least controversial thing you can say is Free Palestine right now. Because it's they're not firing people for that. They're firing people for when they start elaborating on like what they think Israel is doing wrong, when they start elaborating on like the Jewish people and what they think Jewish people mean, and all that, then that's when you seeing people get fired. Whenever they start standing like that, and that's not me arguing whether they're right or wrong. That's just what I see people losing jobs for.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not gonna lose a job just for saying Free Palestine or posting a picture of a march.
Right. And so, and I've said this at the beginning, and this is why a lot of people just shut the fuck up. When they ask, they don't give no comments. You start talking about that shit, they zip the fuck up, because people on both sides are like fucking to the extremes in their feelings, and people go nope, because you try any form of nuance, everybody loses their motherfucking mind.
Yeah. So anyway, man, I thought it was a worthwhile listen, and of course I still have to score this thing, 0 to 100 for fucking with black people. What would you give it? I know you only listen to some of it and then just what I relayed.
I actually give this I give it a 75. I'm fucked with, and I'm fucked with a lot. The only reason why I'm not giving it a full-fledged 100 is because, to an extent, I understand the anger, and shit like that. It doesn't justify it, nor is it right, but I understand. And so that's why you're not getting a full-fledged 100. But yes, I'm fucked with it, because, like I said, when you just say shit shooting across the bow like that, and you're hitting all these people are going to come back and going to be like, we didn't have anything to do with this. You brought us into a conversation. This is between, Palestine and Israel. What the fuck Black Lives Matter got to do with it? What the fuck, people with pronouns got to do with this situation? It's not the same.
Yeah, and I mean, there's history there with Black Lives Matter and Palestinians, meaning like in Ferguson, when they were tear gassing people, it was Palestinian activists that told people how to get the tear gas out of their eyes with milk and shit.
They sure did.
And like how to, like, when Ta-Nehisi Coates goes over there and comes back and talks about the oppression that Palestinians live with every day, that resonates with black people who have been through the Jim Crow laws of the South. It's not so, it portends a level of being not in community with black folks to not understand how we would at once resonate with Jewish people to certain extents and Palestinians to a certain extent. It just means you don't listen to us, which is fine. Y'all, you don't have to listen to everybody, but don't be betrayed and shocked, because if you actually listen to what people are saying, which I'm sure it's hard to do right now, no one's listening to anybody.
Correct.
But like if you listen to people talk about it, you'll be like, oh, so okay, so they're not necessarily saying yay terrorism as much as they're saying like there has to be something that ends this oppression. These people can't live this way the whole time. And the same way that, there were laws in the South that kept black people from going to certain neighborhoods and all this shit, they feel like that's what's happening to Palestinians. Whether they completely understand all the ins and outs of the culture and all that shit or not, it resonates with something in them.
Right.
The same way that like, for a lot of people, not every black person, obviously, but for a lot of black people, the struggle of the Holocaust and the genocide that fucking Jews went through, we are like, yes, understand. Shorthand.
Yes.
Like y'all and us. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just, I do understand the complications, but yeah, I would give it like I think you're right. I would give it like a 75, mostly because of that disconnect. I feel like I am not so taken by the social media fervor that I would just be like, and there's just nothing Jewish people just got to shut up and take it. I don't think that's reasonable or rational.
Right.
Especially when we're talking about, the people that died October 7th and the hostages in such antiseptic terms. That's just you being like, I'm over here and don't have to deal with it.
Correct.
I've seen people make like jokes in light of the shit. I've seen people, talk about supporting Hamas, and I know their values don't align with that. I've seen it. So I do know that it's happening. I mean, and I'm sure that Jewish people see the shit too, and they're like, what the fuck you mean? Right. You know what I mean? You actually say you're against this. So, okay, we let Hamas be in charge, and let's say tomorrow Jewish people move completely out of Israel. Hamas is in charge. Y'all gonna support that community, or y'all gonna be like, well, actually, now that y'all are in charge, could y'all not kill gay people, and could y'all not oppress women, and or y'all gonna be like, nope, they're all good. More than likely, it's gonna be the first. So
right.
I do understand, but I just, at the end of the day, man, you're not gonna see a lot of people get down with the amount of death that is happening. I'm sorry. That's
You're
a
not.
human thing.
Yes. It's a human thing. Yes.
I can't even imagine. I'm sure there are people, but it is hard for me to truly imagine anyone that I consider to be like a reasonable person who is Jewish being like, yeah, kill every single person in there.
Right.
I can't imagine it. I won't let myself imagine someone believing that and being like, oh no, that's a reasonable way to look at it. I think most people would feel like it's a shame. Most people would feel like this is I don't even necessarily want you doing this in my name. Like I do want my folk to feel safe, but if the cost of this is killing every fucking body, then no. Like I don't want to see the well, they killed some babies, let's kill all their babies. I don't like I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel that way. So, it's hard to talk about because there's so much information we're getting third and fourth hand at this point. I see people say shit and it makes me afraid to talk about certain shit because you see like somebody says something in the morning, by the afternoon it's either debunked or the opposite point is made, and you're like, fuck, I didn't know either one of those points this morning. Why am I chiming in on the shit?
Right, which is why I do not.
Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, it's like a 75. I really don't. I know what she's trying to say. I really think if she interrogated a little bit further, which is hard to do when you're that upset by something. Yes, but if she interrogated a little bit further, I think she'd stop and be like, what am I really bothered by? Is it that some kids on a college campus in America don't understand? Is it that am I saying like, nah, it should be okay to kill all these people? Like, what are you saying for real? And the last thing I'll say on this, people keep dismissing this shit, but I actually get it now. This conflict has made me see it more than ever. There is an importance in disavowing shit. I'm sorry, like,
yes, it is.
I really didn't think it, but I'm watching it happen in real time, and maybe it's because it's not happening to black people for the first time in my life. But I do get why people need to say, like, I actually don't support this part of this. Right. And so like, if you're going to get involved in that conversation, I think, and just the podcast I've been listening to, Ezra Klein and the Gray Area and like all these different things I listen to, like, there's an importance in being like, yeah, so I'm not okay with the shit Hamas does, but here's what I feel about this conflict that has been going on much longer than this, and what kind of solution would need to be had for Palestine and Israel to either coexist or something, right? I get why you need to disavow now, because what happens is, and you can hear with her, you can hear with other people, when they're like, I refuse, I shouldn't even have to say that I'm not okay with that. The other side immediately goes, so you are okay with it. And it's not right, it's not fair, but it keeps fucking happening. Right. If you're Israeli and you don't go, look, I'm not okay with them killing thousands of people, I don't think that is gonna fix this. If you don't say that, people go, so you a Zionist that just wants to kill children. And it's like, well, there's no sentence that can come after that that's gonna fix, that is going to make this a conversation, and vice versa.
Right.
So I do get it.
Right. And a lot of it is because that's the way social media is designed.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I agree. All right. Let's move out of this segment. That was a long, serious one, guys. Sorry, but
sorry to be so. Why so serious, right?
But man, that interview, man, whew,
it was something.
It's hard to listen to be honest, as a black person. But I've been listening to everybody. Honestly, I'm just listening because honestly, I do not see. And I don't think anybody said anything that's going to fix shit, by the way. I don't think, just because like the people involved not going to do any of the stuff, no matter how smart the podcasters are, no matter how informed and brilliant they sound, the people who are the people in power and make ideas and decisions, they are out there like, fuck all that shit.
Right.
So, oh, man. All right, let's try to get out on something fun, okay? Because that's not that fun, maybe we can do some guess the race. I think guess the race is normally where we get some fun. This time for guess the race. This time for guess the race. This time for guess the race. This time for guess race. All right, guess the race. You know what that is. We go around the globe, find different articles, guess the race of the people involved. When, of course, my Pocket Cast app goes down. All right, we'll see if I can find it on my phone then. Jesus. I mean, brother trying to do some work over here. Computer, what happened?
Computer took a break.
Right. All right, let me.
Computer was like, look, it's time for my 15 minutes. I don't know what you heard.
Jesus.
I'll be back.
It's like, actually, I'm offended by everything y'all said in that last segment. Okay. I'm somehow offended on both sides. All right, let's do the first one. A man is arrested after streaking at Disneyland Small World.
Oh no! It's Disneyland. I don't think I've been Disney World. Okay, I've been Disneyland yet. That's my goal, to get there one day.
A man who stripped down and streaked at Disneyland's It's a Small World ride has been arrested and accused of indecent exposure.
You don't say. You can't be showing your penis to Mickey.
Right. Like, why are you pulling your dick out? What
is happening here?
Are you that excited by this ride? You know?
You have a big dick?
Need people to see it?
That'll make you slap somebody.
You know it'll make you slap somebody. Come on now. But yeah, it was around 1:30 p.m. Sunday.
Oh shit, well the sun's still up and the kids is there.
In Anaheim, California.
Yeah, that's the one in California, right? Because I've been to the one in Florida.
Yeah, I don't think Disneyland has adult hours, so it's probably kids always there, right?
I'm assuming so.
Upon officers arriving, they arrested a 26-year-old man for indecent exposure and for being under the influence of a controlled substance. The man was taken to hospital as precaution.
On them drugs?
Yeah, I wonder what control, mushrooms maybe?
Yeah,
acid.
Yeah, because if it was alcohol, they would just flat say alcohol. So
I wonder.
Yeah, heroin, you was on something.
No one with Disneyland could immediately be reached for comment Monday night. Pictures and video of the alleged streaker circulated on social media. I am on Small World and there was a streaker. I cannot believe this is happening. The censored photograph which accompanied the post has garnered 2.9 million views.
Yeah, we nothing small about him in Small World.
Well, maybe it was small. Who knows?
You never know.
Karen, guess the race.
Oh, child white.
Karen's going white on this one. All right, let's check the chat room. See what they believe.
I think it's a delay.
Yeah, no problem. It seemed like my computer was moving slow anyway. So yeah, it's you know what else is interesting about all this? Let's go back to the Holocaust, to the Israel Hamas Palestine discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Being from the South, we don't know shit about this. I'm just telling y'all right now, man, until like we did the podcast, really, the idea of someone being Jewish is so different
foreign.
In the South.
Yeah, it's foreign to me.
Yeah, so I know I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
I don't even get off on pretending to be an expert.
Right.
I don't find any. I didn't learn about it in college or anything. Down here, you white or you like not white. And if you're not white, it really means you black or you like Mexican. Like you some kind of way that you can't even fold into whiteness.
Yep. And that's kind of how we view it down here. It's a little different, you know. So when people talk about these subsections of white, I'm like, I guess to me,
I mean, it definitely is real,
in my
but
mind,
it's not down
I'm
here.
Like, oh, y'all are white, but that's not the reality of other people.
It's mostly through movies that I'm like, oh wait, Irish people don't fuck with Italian people. Okay, they just white down here.
Right.
All right. Let's get to these guesses. White. He had a friendship penis. White. He could afford to visit Disneyland. White. Streaking is some white shit. His line hails from the Caucasus Mountains. Shout out to Cauk. Grew up around in didn't know Small World wasn't about his culture. White. The correct answer is, and most of you said, I think everyone literally said white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone got it correct. And that's him.
Why is that a thumbs down? Hilarious.
Yeah, it's a pretty good. He's in pretty good shape too.
That's
you know, maybe he just wanted to show it off. He was like, "Listen, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, this what I'm working with. Holler at me over by the slides or wherever they got in Disney World.
Slide down this pole.
Right. You want to ride this roller coaster?
No, sir, I do not.
Here's another indecent exposure article. An Iowa man is arrested for indecent exposure after pleasuring himself at a come-and-go gas station.
Oh, he was just following instructions.
Yeah, now I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure this article is real.
Oh no!
Okay, so why? Because people send it to me and share it, and I just want to say the article is from whiskeyriff.com.
Who the hell is that? Who?
The arrest warrant that they link to in the article gives a 404 file or directory not found.
Oh, this might not be real.
The man's name is 50-year-old Kenneth Kelly. If I search for his name, the places that the articles that list him are mostly articles that are not news sources.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this
Complex, Baller Alert, Whiskey Riff,
I see
The Messenger,
they're not like
Instagram, The Daily Caller, Hollywood Unlocked. I think this is a fake story.
Yeah, they're not actually official like news sites. You're right.
Yeah.
Where you getting this shit from like a police department or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like if it's real, then I don't have the enough in here
right
to believe it's real. But I wanted to bring it up on the thing because it's such a funny article. It's easy to do a bunch of come and go jokes and all this stuff. But man, and it fake news is wild. The tigerdroppings.com. You know what I mean? Like, what is this?
Is that where the local tigers go to get their news? The fuck is this?
Right. So anyway, I'm not gonna read it. He was white, but I'm not gonna read the whole article. I saved it to point that out because I remember looking at that. Let's see. Let's go to another one. We already talked about the postal people. Why is it showing me articles we already covered?
Because it didn't remove them.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if I can find one Give me 1 second to refresh things.
No problem.
Okay, cool.
See, that's what happened when you're getting back for your 15.
Son kills 86-year-old father by running him over with a truck and dragging him.
Goddamn.
Right. Drug him for filth, literally.
Apparently his daddy was not Ford tough. I could help myself.
He wanted to see how them 4 wheels drove.
Come on.
A man ran over his elderly father and dragged him with his track. I think he means truck, misspelling. Killing him, according to Pinellas County Sheriff's Office deputies, Saturday around 8:36 p.m. There was apparently the R Bar in Treasure Island is where this happened. The hit and run.
In Treasure Island? Where is this place at?
In Florida. The victim, 86-year-old Thomas McCown, was struck and dragged by a black pickup truck in the parking lot. The truck sped away before the deputies arrived. According to investigators, it was a black Dodge Ram.
Shit now.
I mean, it makes sense. It parked just outside the bar. When McCown walked towards the truck, he fell and was run over by it. His body was dragged across the lot. The truck then reversed and ran him over multiple times before fleeing. The driver of the truck is Mark McCown, his 61-year-old son. Mark was arrested and charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving a death. Thomas went to the hospital and was pronounced dead.
They're going to get it from elderly abuse.
Authorities suspect impairment might have been a factor. You
don't say.
The investigation remains open. Karen, guess the race.
Oh, white.
Karen's going with white on this one. Let's check the chat room, see what they believe for this one. But man, some white shit, says Trey. All right. Trey said, I'll hop right on in early and often.
Just keep it simple. White as the fur on that ram.
Yeah. Got tired of waiting for his inheritance. White.
Oh no.
Put in a little rush order. I see. Did he take out insurance like right before he drove over?
Shit, he might.
I don't want to take out car insurance. I want to take out life insurance. How much that costs?
Right.
It's a lot. There's not as many people in the chat because of the delay and stuff.
Yes.
But like a rock, white, says Black Rob. Correct answer is white. Someone said the R bar stands for the redneck bar.
Yeah.
And that's him there. Man, it's also wild because when you think about a son killing a father, in my mind, it's a young man that killed their father. 61, you grown. You thought about that.
Yes, you did. 61, my nigga.
It wasn't just a couple drinks. Like, you can't be, I had too many.
Toasted.
Right. That is wild as fuck. All right, bonus round. So far, Karen is 2 for 2.
Yay!
That bitch was white. I ain't racist. How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Call them niggas. Just call them niggas.
Gold chain wearing, fried chicken and biscuit eating, monkey ate baboon, big dive, fast running, high jumping, spear chucking, 360-degree basketball.
TBS said white because black men don't live past 63.
Damn.
Right?
Woo. It be our own people.
Right? You see how we turn on us.
Pastor dressed as a Grinch stands outside primary school with sign declaring Santa is fake.
I'm fucking all the kids up.
A Texas pastor has been slammed for dressing up as a Grinch and standing outside of a primary school with a sign declaring Santa is fake, Jesus is real. I feel like I like to go out there with a sign next to him and be like, Jesus is fake and Santa is fake. And then just see the kids get even sadder, like, oh.
Nothing's real.
Christmas killjoy David Harold Grisham decided he could no longer face watching children being lied to about Santa's existence. But not, okay. Standing outside Sleepy Hollow Elementary School in Amarillo, Texas, the pastor decided to preach what he believes to be the truth, that Santa is not, in fact, real. First of all, I want to know this man's Jesus. See, because this is the thing. Right now, it's probably Christian people listening that would get offended if I start clowning this nigga. But let's keep going real quick. What kind of Jesus do he worship? Because all Jesus ain't the same.
No, it's not.
Some of these Jesus is like, listen, I look like Donald Trump, and I got a AK-47, and I got a 6-pack, and I don't want no blacks and browns in here. I don't think gay people can get married. Like, not all the Jesus is the same, is what I'm saying. Grisham was unable to provide any evidence for his controversial claim and faced the wrath of angry parents who didn't want real life Grinch to steal their children's seasonal joy.
Right,
and their own too.
The kids, having the kids crying. Not the teachers. We got to have teachers and counselors and shit. Get out of here.
But Grisham claims he was assaulted outside the school and that police showed up and forced to block him from exercising my First Amendment right.
Yes, why are you on school grounds?
As much as they could, he said in a Facebook post.
Why are you here? Do you have a child here? If not, why are you here?
In a video posted on YouTube, Grisham can be heard saying, "We shouldn't lie to children," as a man, seemingly a parent, quickly walks towards him. After a short scuffle, Grisham says, "Get off my stuff," before picking up his sign, which has been partially ripped. Grisham places his Grinch mask back on, apparently unaware that the story of the Grinch ends in the Green Whoville resident loving Christmas more than anyone.
Right.
And continues to hold his sign outside of the school. Parents carried on shouting at the unjolly man. Why didn't he dress as Jesus?
It would have made more sense, right? Duh.
This is your belief. Hundreds of children heard the message, and many parents as well. Grisham continued in his Facebook post. Very telling for a society to go this far, protecting a lie to go to that far.
Nobody asked you to come to the school and basically start a ruckus. So now, like I said, now you have a classroom full of a teacher and like an assistant teacher full of 30 kids, half of them crying, half of them, some of them go like, "My mama told me it wasn't real," and you got the other half crying, and so now it's fucking in disarray for the rest of the goddamn day.
I do want to go stand outside this church where the Jesus isn't real thing and see if he'll let me slide. Because this whole thing is, I was just on the sidewalk exercising my rights.
But I say, I don't give a damn if it's real or not. You need to get off this campus because now I got to deal with the aftermath of
That's what I'm saying.
Up here now.
I wonder how open-minded he would be to somebody showing up and either promoting a different religion or saying his religion is fake.
Right.
In front of his church on a Sunday. Being like, yeah, as the kids walk into your Sunday school, I'm telling them some shit that you disagree with. I just wonder if he would be okay with that.
Right.
My guess is probably not.
Right. So what make you think you could come to a school and do this?
But he says it's no wonder our country is in trouble. But he didn't break.
Guarantee you, Republican.
He didn't break any laws, so he was not arrested. Guess the race.
Child of Caucasity, white.
All right. Karen's going white. Let's check the chat room, see what they believe his race is.
I feel bad for the teachers that got to deal with the fallout of that. Half of them crying.
Right. That's true.
Now we got to send letters home and shit.
Yep. You know, and I mean, yeah, it's he. Where did you find the time?
Right.
Pure Aryan pastor, says Trey. Pure Aryan. Waiting on anybody else? No, we don't have many people in the chat room.
Yeah, and also I think it's a delay.
Yeah. All right. I'll just go ahead and give it up. It was white. People are responding to the chat now. Goodness, so pushy. Got to be white like the snow. 3 first names white. He's been stealing from the building fund for decades.
Oh no!
White man who couldn't dress as Jesus because geography says Jesus would have been black. Well, y'all got it right. He was white. It was a sweep of the whites this week. This episode.
Everybody was white this episode.
Yeah, this is his Jesus get up though. Saying his fake Jesus real, and his Grinch get up. I mean,
yeah.
That's the police talking to him. Man, I'm telling you, man, religious people in signs, it's not a good look. It's just, it just hasn't really been going well for the sign game.
Right.
There's either those people outside abortion clinics or it's the God hates F words people. It's never like, it's like, where are the good signs?
And I have seen that before. You just going down the road, you look up and I've seen them having like full-fledged pictures of like aborted babies and shit. You be like, why is you God? You showing this sign on the side of the road.
And that's him.
Nothing better to do with your time.
Him without the makeup kind of look like the Grinch too, though.
Yes, he does.
So he's a mean one. I'll say that. All right, let's go to the final segment, sword ratchetness. All right. Sword ratchetness time. A man was caught with a large black sword outside of a house. Not the BBC. The big black cutlass. A man was caught with a large black and gold sword outside of a home he had been kicked out of only days earlier. So some domestic violence sign and shit. Motherfucker got kicked out, came back with the ebony blade.
Apparently so.
Police were called out to the home. Reports of a man with a knife. They found out 27-year-old Alex Tachkuna was near a home that he had been told to leave after disagreement. As officers approached the address, the defendant was stood outside the house. He told the court how an officer came up close to where Tachkuna was standing, at which point he noticed the defendant was stood next to what appeared to be a large black and gold bat. This was in fact a sword. Damn, he must have had like Ichigo sword. Tachkuna, who was
he named it and shit.
Right. Bankai. Tachkuna, who has one previous conviction for 3 offenses, was arrested and searched, at which point officers found he had been carrying a small snap bag of a white colored powder, which turned out to be cocaine.
Oh, you don't say. A lot of drugs this episode, too.
Cocaine and swords. He eventually pled guilty to possession of a bladed article in a public place and possession of Class A drugs. Let's see. Tachkuna, his defense attorney pointed out that Tachkuna had already spent around 5 months in prison on remand since his arrest, and said he had been placed. He needed a place to live. Oh, he had a place to live now if he could be released. So they were basically trying to see if they could get him released. He judge sentenced him to 6 months in prison, but said that given he had already reached the halfway point while on remand, he was likely to be released immediately, and he was led away, and he said, okay, thanks so much. So they didn't take it too serious.
Apparently not.
So he gets to live to haunt another day outside somebody's house with a sword, because that makes sense. That's how we treat it. All right, y'all, that's it. Thanks for listening to this episode. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back throughout the week. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.